Hi, Fatty and I are back just to share another very bizarre dating story. Disclaimer, like I do feel a little bit bad sharing these. I don't want to make fun of anybody. Life is hard, none of us are perfect, but at the same time, they're too good not to share. And I'm just putting it out there in case other people are experiencing things, and you're not alone because it's just weird out there. And I'm not even going to blame COVID for it. It's just dating. I don't know. Toronto dating is very bizarre, anyways. So I met this guy at a restaurant, which is like the last time that I'll be going to a restaurant for a while now that they're closed down again. So I'm kind of glad I got that in. He shows up and he's just like, he's almost manic. He talks a blue streak for, I'm not even joking, about 10 minutes straight, going from topic to topic to topic without taking a breath, without asking me a question. I might as well not have been there. So when this sort of thing happens, my brain just sort of like snaps into, okay, we're just gonna like buckle in and enjoy this ride because this is like very strange. And I mean, there's like, long talkers out there, self-absorbed talkers out there, but this had like a manic element to it, which I will get back to the reason why later. My brain also kind of just like switches into therapist mode when this happens too. It's like, okay, you're not gonna get your airtime, Elizabeth. You're just gonna be like enjoying whatever this is and kind of like listening to this person and maybe like helping them out. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm so curious about people and I love psychology and I just kind of, sit back and see what this is all about. Okay, so he's like manic talking. He finally comes up for air, asks me a question. I get one sentence in, and then we're like off on the merry-go-round again. It was very intense. I wondered too, like, is he nervous? Like, what's going on? But he didn't seem like a nervous type. He's like 49 or 50, very successful. But then he mentions that he spent $800 on edibles that day and like shows me a picture of them. Like I need to see what a table full of edibles looks like. And he's like, I've been taking a bunch today. And I'm like, wow. He's got like a high, busy business job and he can do edibles. Like, hey, if your body metabolizes it like that, good for you. Congratulations. Found it a little bit rude to be doing edibles before a date, but like, hey, that's not how I roll. And he's like, do you want some? And I'm like, I'm totally good. Not taking edibles on a date. Cool. So I'm hungry, by the way, because I'm one of those weird people that kind of like plans around, like, if I knew I was going to meet him at 5:30 and he offered to pay for dinner, so I ate a light lunch. Like, I make everything like a huge plan. So I'm starving by the time, because he's a little bit late and then he's talking and talking. I'm trying to like scoot a glance at the menus without making him feel like I'm not listening to him, but it's like, oh my god. And that took another like 20 minutes to like, because he couldn't focus on the menu and he just kept talking and like, do you like this? Yeah, I do. Do you want to order it? But then he'd go off on like some crazy rant. Ugh. So the waitress comes by and he's like, I'll get a rum and coke and 2 shots of tequila. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is how this is happening. Hey, I appreciate it. That's great. I needed a shot of tequila to deal with it. So, I mean, that's fantastic. So he orders the food. He ordered like a ton. I've never seen somebody order, like, I mean, he only ordered 4 appetizers, but it was like, that's a lot. Like that's really generous. Again, that's really nice. But I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Then he proceeds to deep dive into like crazy personal stuff that you probably shouldn't tell a stranger, but I mean, hey, I'm an understanding person. But at the same time, like, I don't want to date you when you're telling me these great, like, this is not, first dates are not the time to tell like these insane tales. So number one, he talks about how like he's estranged from his mom. He hasn't talked to her for 6 years, blah, 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 blah. Which is like, I don't know you to get context on why that's happening, to, you know, you're a stranger, so it just kind of sounds like it could go so many different ways. Those are the kind of things you want to tell somebody when they know your character a bit more and are gonna do like some massive eye rolling. So yeah, he tells me about that, and he has like a daughter as well. She's like 25. They're estranged, but it's all like kind of done with a spin of like, it's not my fault. Like, you know, the mom, it's not my fault. I can't remember his reasons. The daughter was like, my ex-wife poisoned her mind, and I'm like, wow. Hey, maybe you were innocent. Maybe you're just like 100% the victim in your life, but I doubt it. And that's some crazy stuff to be sharing with a stranger. Just saying. Okay, so there's that going on. And then he talks about, I have notes, but like Fatty's like literally sitting on top of them. So this is going to be a little bit more jumpy, even though I prepared. So then he tells me about how when he was 21, he married a 31-year-old. And this is where I go into like full therapist mode, and I'm just like asking questions about it. Because I also, like, I know it's probably not nice to do, but I was quite fascinated by that. He didn't love her. He cheated on her all the time. Again, you might not want to tell your date that we're cheating on your wife all the time. And he's saying this with no self-consciousness, no like awareness of how this information could be received, which I found so like, what is even happening? So yeah, he cheated on her all the time because he didn't like her, he didn't find her attractive. He even mentioned like she had some like long nipple hair and she refused to get rid of it, and I'm like, wow, what is going on? Like, what? Very bizarre. I don't know. I didn't even know what to make of that. I just, you know, ate my nachos and did my tequila shots and was like, this is really weird. And the whole time, again, he's so manic. He's just not letting me talk at all. He was kind of trying to joke around, but it was like, it was really hokey. For example, he asked like, okay, what made me decide a career change? Because I went from being a librarian to the cosmetics industry. And, or I just, you know, I have this sort of like persona of like a cynical existential person. So I was like, you know, it was a tough change. I would never encourage people to follow their dreams. And I'm saying this tongue in cheek, right? So he kept harping on that. Like, I think he went back to that like 4 more times. He's like, but you're the girl that tells people not to follow their dreams. And then I was like, okay, let me just pause to explain this. What I mean is that we grow up in a society where you get all this sort of like self-help advice, like jump and the net will appear, when you're trying to make a big decision, right? And it was more my nod to like, some of that advice is hackneyed, and some of that advice, I just think the self-help industry in general kind of sets people up for disappointment. And I am so grateful it changed careers. Trust me, like it changed my entire being. It helped me to grow and mature into a stronger person, and I can't even say enough good things. But I was kind of making a joke, like, just to sort of show I'm not cookie cutter, I'm not status quo. I think that people have expectations when they make life changes that they're going to be positive in a certain way, and they tend to be more positive in a soul growth way, but they're very hard. So I didn't mean for it to be taken to heart and be taken like at face value. So I tried to explain this, but it was hard because like this guy's a manic talker. But even after that, like he just kept going back and making that joke, and I think he was like kind of, that was like his way of flirting, but he kept being like, but don't follow your dreams. And I'm like, yeah, I got that, but we're not all, on the same joke, you know what I mean? Like, when you're vibing with somebody and you can start creating these like fun inside jokes, but this was just like making me like cringe, because it's like we're not on, like, what's happening. And he kept like kind of like pointing to like, oh, look at you, you're blushing, I'm giving you a compliment, you're blushing. And it's like, you're probably just noticing like my makeup rubbing off and my cheeks are red because I'm like, it's like you're not reading this situation at all is what I'm trying to say. This guy was like not reading it and trying to make all these flirty, like, look at you, you're blushing again. And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, we're on two different planets right now. So yeah, and then he keeps mentioning, do you want to do edibles, even though I've said no. And like, that is a thing that is not just unique to me, but all women, is like, I said no, and you're literally pushing like drugs and not respecting that I said no, which is really like creepy. But then he's going on about like, oh, I'm so woke, I'm not like other guys, I tend to understand women well. And I'm like, okay, like, if you have to brag about that, probably not. And then he takes it to like this weird level. He's like, I've dated girls who've been raped, like multiple, which just kind of makes you sound like a rapist, by the way. But anyways, sorry, that's too far, YouTube. Sorry. So yeah, he's like, that's his like proof that he is sensitive, is because he's dated women who've been raped. But then he keeps saying like, you should come back to my place after this and we should do a line of coke, because he brought a bag of coke on the date. And that answers our question of why he was so manic. So yeah, he's like, you should go back to my place, have a line of coke. I'm like, I am good, dude. Like, I gots to go. This has like been fun from like an abnormal psychology point of view, but like, oof. So we walk to the subway and he asks again. He's like, my place is right there. Like, we could do a line of coke, have a drink, I'll get you an Uber home. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like, you're just so woke, I can't handle it. So I go home, and then he's like messaging me, and he says it 2 more times. Like, he like sends me a picture of his place, like it's like bougie, and he's like, you really should have come over. And it's like, okay, that is so scary and weird and creepy. Like, how do you not know that? I'm in general fascinated by people not knowing they're creepy or not caring that they're creepy. And I got fed up. Like, that's something, I could go on another video rant about that, but that always bothers me, because you're taking advantage of like the fact that women have been programmed to be nice and not say no. And that's like a whole other rant. I'm not going to do it now, but that's something that's like a massive like no for me. So yeah, I just wrote back and I'm like, yeah, like, I heard you the first time. Dude, just no. So that was weird. That was a weird ride. Thank you for the dinner. I'm sorry to like make fun of you. If you have issues, I don't know what's going on. It seems like sad to me, like the ex-wife, the daughter, the mother, like it's yeah, like my heart does go out to you. But that was weird, and like I don't know. I don't even know where to end off this. I guess I can end it off with Fatty because she's adorable. She's so. Do you want to just maybe do something? No, no. Okay, yep. Roger that.